in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. See you, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
If you're drunk, blasted,
Intoxicated.
ripped, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
New Mexico for 5 years running. It's the OD and the AM with Jeff Symbieta and JJ Buck.
Say hey. What a great nickname and maybe the best player ever. Say hey kid. Willie Mays, word comes down late yesterday. Say hey kid passed away. We have these GOAT conversations so frequently about so many different things. Who's the best this? Who's the best that? When that one comes up, when it comes up to baseball, it almost seems the easiest one, and most of us never saw the Say Hey Kid play in his prime. But Willie Mays passes away at 93 years old, and maybe even probably the best baseball player ever, period. Good morning to you, and Merry Wednesday. Happy Juneteenth. I know many of you are off, although the traffic on the freeways would tell me most of you are working. It's the opening drive. Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck. How you living?
What it do?
Yeah, the traffic was crazy this morning. Went in for a holiday?
Not for me.
Easy? I guess you can.
I get in a little earlier.
Yeah, a little bit earlier than me. But when you're asked the question, not the greatest baseball player you ever saw play, but when you greatest baseball player, does Willie Mays go to the top of your list typically?
I think Willie Mays is just one of those names if you're a sports fan. Like there's just certain givens. Like if you grow up watching sports, listening to any type of sports, talk radio or anything sports related, like there's a group of names in each sport that you just know. And Willie Mays is one of those names. And really for, I think, a lot of the younger generation, like the iconic catch, you remember? But I know you're going to wax poetically about Willie Mays, but honestly, I don't know a lot about Willie Mays.
Yeah. See, I'm not old enough to see.
I know you didn't watch him, but.
Well, I've got a vague memory of him with the Mets in '70. Really vague. And I remember him but being a Dodger fan, growing up, in the '80s, and it wasn't that far detached from when Willie Mays played, and so you heard a lot, all the old timers. I mean, all of them said he was the best. Now, maybe Ted Williams was a better hitter, and maybe Babe Ruth going back was a better power hitter. But nobody, you listen to everybody tell you whoever saw him play. And I'm going to kind of rely on some of you old school guys today to come in and hit us if you saw Willie Mays play, 505-246-0610. The numbers tell it all. And JJ, keep in mind that he missed 2 seasons for military service, 2.5 seasons. But 24 All-Star games and 2 MVPs and 12 Gold Gloves and 660 home runs, which still ranks him 6th all-time in home runs. He's 7th in runs scored still, 12th in runs batted in, 13th in hits. And by every account, the greatest 5-tool player we've ever seen. Hit for power, have speed, field, and have an arm. Could throw. People used to say Willie's range in center field was right field line to left field line. Right? I mean, that's how much range he had. And the legend grew obviously over the years. And I don't know that this is one of those necessarily where, the older I get, the better I was kind of a thing, because I think anybody who ever saw him just raved about him in terms of, and you listen to the baseball historians, and there's still some of them, who are around that watched Willie Mays play in his time. But JJ, I agree with you as far as, what are the iconic names, right? The legends that, none of us saw Babe Ruth play. We all, wow, Babe Ruth was unbelievable. The legend of Babe Ruth. Some of us, not you or me, but saw Willie Mays play. And my mom used to tell me about, she was a big baseball fan and a Yankee fan growing up. Snuck into Yankee Stadium in the Bronx when she was a kid, and all the stories. But both her and my dad used to tell me, there was just nothing like Willie Mays. And the legend maintained over the years. And it was I don't know, man. When Hank Aaron died, about 3 months ago? Didn't seem like that long ago, right? That era of players, when you think of Clemente, who passed away in that plane crash, Mays and Aaron, it was a pretty unbelievable run of play. And I don't know if it's because baseball was it in America, and the stars got more. You can tell me these guys are better today, and I don't know. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. And there's no way to compare eras, and we're never going to know if Willie Mays was better than pick your favorite player today, right? But man, Clemente, Aaron, Mays, it was a hell of an era, wasn't it? And I know we all probably relearned, or maybe learned for the first time, some of the Willie Mays stories yesterday. But Say Hey Kid passes away, and lost a great one, man. That's life, right? We're gonna 93 years old. It's a pretty damn good life. And his son Michael said he passed away peacefully. He was surrounded by family, and said, thank you from the bottom of his heart. This is Michael Mays, his son. My father passed away peacefully and among loved ones. I want to thank you all from the bottom of my broken heart for the unwavering love you have shown him over the years. You have been his life's blood. End quote. I thought that was great. It was kind of crazy. There was a big Juneteenth ceremony in Birmingham at the field where he broke in, and so many baseball players were there yesterday. It's kind of crazy. He broke in with the Birmingham Black Barons of the Negro League. He was a teenager, so JJ, he was still in high school, and he gave up his amateur status. So he said, while school was still in, he could play on Saturdays and Sundays, and maybe some night games, but there were never really night games. And then once school was out, he got to travel with the team. He played in the Negro. Kind of crazy, man, some of the stories. But 23 years in the big leagues, 21 of them with the Giants. He ended up with the Mets, if you recall. He is 6th on the all-time home run list, behind only Barry Bonds, Hank Aaron, Babe Ruth, and Alex Rodriguez. 505-246-0610. I was hoping that was kind of a bat signal, man. I was hoping this guy would call it, because I think he saw Willie Mays. I'm loving the perspective, I think. Adolph, you're on the Sports Animal. Good morning. How you living?
Oh, pretty good. It was a sad day to hear of the passing of the Say Hey Kid. I'm going to go back to my childhood, and my next birthday, I'll be 72 years old. I saw Willie Mays. My dad, we went to a Cubs baseball game in Wrigley Field the Sunday, and I can remember the excitement, basically when Dad simply said, "We're going to see Willie." And just going to the ballpark, thinking that when I stepped into the stadium, that I'm going to see number 24. And it's kind of like you realize when you see him that you are looking at a living legend. And just watching him run out to center field, number 24, like I say, I'll be 72 years old this November, and I still remember it like it was yesterday. And I'll tell you a story. A few years back, when y'all used to have the annual Sports Animal birthday bash,
yeah,
you had a bash over here at the west side at Hooters, and it was crowded, and there was a gentleman sitting alone at a cocktail table. That gentleman was Ray Birmingham. And so there was one seat at that table, and so I asked, if I could, join him. And he readily agreed. And so Ray Birmingham and I started talking about baseball. And the coach asked me directly who was the greatest player, in my opinion, I had seen. And Coach Birmingham and I are, we're roughly the same age. So we grew up in the same era. And I responded to that question with this answer. I said, well, Coach, that question was asked, I believe on Good Morning America a number of years ago. That question was put to Willie Mays. And Willie answered that question this way. I always thought that I was the best player, but if I had to choose another player, it would be Roberto Clemente. Coach Birmingham looked at me and said this to me: if you had answered in any other way, then I would have been suspect with regard to your baseball knowledge. And we simply looked at one another, that we had seen the best players. I was fortunate enough to see Roberto Clemente live, Willie Mays live, Bob Gibson live, Johnny Bench live. And I don't think that there's that many callers who can say that they saw the greatest player, arguably, that the game has ever known in those two players.
That's great.
Anyway, thank you for taking my call.
Love that.
I'm out.
Thank you. It's so good. It's such a great story. Vince Scully, the longtime Dodger announcer, routinely said the best player he ever saw, and he saw them all, was Willie Mays. JJ, do you know Willie Mays' Albuquerque connection? Did you know that?
I do not.
So the old Albuquerque Sports Stadium opened March 31st, 1969. You know who played in that game? It was an exhibition game between the San Francisco Giants and the Cleveland Indians. 13,767 overflow Albuquerqueans, or Borqueños, were there. The first batter ever to step up to the plate in the Albuquerque Sports Stadium was Willie Mays. Say, hey, kid. Who knew? Now you know. I love your stories. Keep them coming. If you got them, love to hear them. You're welcome to interject them all day long. We got a lot to do today, man. Josh Sushan's going to join us from Oklahoma City at 9:15. He'll take the mic at 9:45. It's the Isotopes and Oklahoma City Baseball Club today. Oh, the Topes on a little bit of a heater, huh? Won again yesterday. We'll catch up with him, and I know Josh will have thoughts on the passing of the Say Hey Kid, and we'll catch up with him. I know so many of you check in. How's Sushan doing? I'll read some of yours to him as well. We'll do that coming up at 9:15. Stanley Cup did not get passed around yesterday, and we might just have a little history in the making going on as they take that long flight across North America. Tiger Woods, lifetime exemption, essentially. 505-246-0610 in New Mexico United play a friendly against FC Juarez today. It's the opening drive. Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports App.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman!
Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight. Boom! Boom!
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. And Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
Burglary takes place in the United States approximately every 15 seconds. International Protective Service is your answer for commercial and residential security in all of Albuquerque. IPS will work with your monitoring company for fast, reliable response times. You can rest easy knowing you, your family, or your company is watched over by International Protective Service. Call International Protective Service today.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll
go any further without sending our love, our thoughts, our whatever it is you spiritually do to people in Ruidoso. Because that's a living hell down there right now. And that monster of a fire that is threatening the entire village. I heard this morning 1,400 structures have either been damaged or destroyed, and it's 0% contained. It's like 9% humidity. So, JJ, I know you joined me in this, in sending our love, our good thoughts, our our hearts go out to the people in Ruidoso. Get safe, be safe, and we're just wishing for the best outcome possible.
We are, and we do have one of our partners, Home Life Furniture, which I know you're just about to get to. This is the Home Life Furniture that is in the Cottonwood Mall. It's right there, Coors Bypass. They're open from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. They are accepting donations that they will get to those in need. Blankets, pillows, towels, water, pet supplies, sleeping bags, hygiene products. So all those things that the people need that are displaced just to get by day-to-day. Home Life Furniture. You can drop off supplies there, and we'll get them on their way.
Yeah, and obviously, just imagine yourself in that situation. Whatever you can help with. People are always saying, "How can I help?" Like Jay just said, blankets, toiletries, air mattresses. If you've got games and books and puzzles and pet supplies, waters, whatever it is. JJ, we'll hit it again. It's Home Life Furniture. It's over on the west side. It's 10,000 Coors Bypass at the north side of the Cottonwood Mall. But if you can, and if you're so inclined, people are always asking, "How can I help? How can I help?" There's your way, man. And just our thoughts, because that thing is expensive. I always wondered, why do they measure fires? Like, none of us know how big an acre is. They're like 15,000 acres burned. I know that's a lot. It doesn't ever really give me a sense of how much. You'd have told me, and I don't know what a better way to do is, in miles or whatever.
But for us, it's probably football fields.
You know what I'm saying? Is an acre about a football field? Like, honestly,
I think a lot of people deal in construction or owning land probably get it. It just know it's ginormous, and
they know it's really big.
What we've dealt with the last few years, the terrain that we have in the state of New Mexico, and it's absolutely devastating and scary when these things happen. I remember, I grew up in Los Alamos. Well, I was born in Los Alamos, and I remember those fires. So I had some family up there. Just an absolutely scary time. What we saw happen up in northern New Mexico a couple years ago, and then this is just have to come together to help out.
Yeah. Well, and we'll give you that again. An acre is 43,560 feet, and it goes all the way back to the old English acre. But, I always wondered that. All right, 505-246-0610. Jerry, you want to talk about Willie Mays, the passing of the Say Hey Kid yesterday. Good morning, Jerry.
Good morning, guys. I grew up in Roswell, and one of the highlights of Roswell was being that close to Ruidoso, so hearts out to all those guys. So growing up in Roswell in the 50s, mid-50s, our family took a trip down to El Paso to watch the San Francisco Giants play an exhibition game. You can look it up. I don't know if El Paso had a AAA team, but then I still have the pictures. I got Willie Mays on deck. I got Willie McCovey on deck, and I saw Willie Mays hit an inside the park home run in an exhibition game in El Paso. So that's how different it is today versus back then. But the guy could run like a deer. He could catch anything. He could hit anything. He was the best, greatest baseball player, in my opinion, that ever walked the face of the earth. So rest in peace, Willie. That's it. Thanks, guys.
JJ, if we have the GOAT conversation about whatever, I think Tom Brady nothing will ever be unanimous, is going to get a pretty thick majority as being the best quarterback. Patrick Mahomes coming. We're split in basketball, hockey, Gretzky, right? Willie Mays probably is the majority guy, no matter who you talk to. But everybody like, you saw him back in the 50s and the 60s, wherever it is. You got that memory, and gosh, if you were I'd love to hear from someone who was at the Albuquerque Sports Stadium, March 31st, 1969. You were one of the 13,767 who saw the very first game at the brand new sports stadium that was built for $1.4 million. JJ, $1.4 million.
When that $1.4 million was paid, they're like, "Woo!"
I know. And by the
this
way,
thing better be made of gold.
That thing was. I remember when they ripped it down in 2000. 2000? When the Dukes left it right around 99, 2000. It was antiquated. It was old. They needed a new ballpark. That's why the Dukes moved and went to Portland, and you need a new ballpark. And so they got this beautiful park they have now. But it was considered one of the most beautiful, the best ballpark. Listed capacity was 10,510, and they had 13,767 that night to see Willie Mays. But I think, it's hard to, when you have conversations about goals. That's why Oscar Robertson and Bill Russell and some of the old school guys, Bob Cousy, are always left out of the GOAT conversation because we never saw them play. Right? Most of us who are talking about them never saw them. So you talk about who you saw play. Mays kind of he stands the line in that a little bit. We don't have the baseball conversation a lot. I mean, I don't know. For me, the guys that I've seen play, Griffey was the best all-around player of my generation. Ken Griffey Jr. I think he was better than Bonds. There's some guys that, we watch Ohtani now, and it's like, he's about as good as anything we've ever seen, right? Barry Bonds. Tony Gwynn was the best pure hitter I ever saw, but Wade Boggs and Rod Carew were right there with him. But, man, I don't know. Keep listening to these stories. Keep them coming. 505-246-0610 is where you're bringing it. The email, the email is Jeff@sportsanimалabq.com, JJ@sportsanimалabq.com, and on the Twitter, or the X, it's _JJ Buck. Adrian's produced on ProView Networks. He's working today on the holiday as well, and you can watch us on the Facebook, the OD and the AM, and on Comcast Channel 26. This one, Steve said on the text line, gents, Hammer and Hank is my number one favorite all time. Say Hey is right up there, no doubt. R.I.P. Willie. Different era, as I fell asleep many nights listening to Twins games on the radio. One game a week on TV, so those radio announcers were magic. At different time, and baseball. Just imagine during the summers, man. I mean, take yourself back, and you can't imagine this growing up in what we grew up. So you're growing up in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and there's no Major League Baseball, so you listen to the Dukes back in the day. But you're not getting every Rockies game and every game on. And so you get the Saturday morning game. You get the newspaper in the morning and look at the box scores. And being out in the western part of the country, they're a day old, from the East Coast. And the legends that baseball players became, and you just listen to the radio in the summer. Because that's what you had. It was just a different time. All right, when we come back, Tiger forever? Tiger Woods, y'all, forever? Maybe. Or as long as Tiger wants to be around. What does it mean, and what did they do? And probably the right thing. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Hour.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, rip, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
I mean, a Woj bomb just dropped. Maybe, you think there'll be a big donation coming to New Mexico State basketball? Former Aggie and now Indiana Pacers center or power forward Pascal Siakam has agreed to a 4-year extension with the Pacers. See the number? $189.5 million, basically $190 million for 4 years. I mean, maybe they can name the place after. Like it could be called the Siakam Center, the Pascal Palace, right? I mean, just, you know, a little bit. So 190, let's just call it 190. Divided by 4 is $47.5 million. I mean, I don't know.
What an unbelievable player Siakam turned into.
Right? Did you remember when you saw him at New Mexico State? He was good. I did not. How could you possibly see him being this good? He's an NBA champion, and now he just hit the freaking lottery for $190 million. Good for him.
I would hope someone stayed in touch with Siakam.
You think Mario lobs him a call this morning?
Of changes.
Mario needs to lob him a call this morning. Hey, congratulations. So
we'd love to honor you and have a Pascal Siakam day. What do you think?
And we'll name the place after you if you got, you know, I mean, and if, you know, if you want to make a tax deductible donation
no biggie.
to your alma mater,
come on, hang out with us. We'll have great Pascal Siakam time.
I mean, even if it's just like, here, put this in the NIL, right? I mean, good for him. Boy,
That's where relationship building is key, because the last thing you need to do is be like, oh, I haven't talked to Pascal Siakam in 5 years, but let's love him.
Hey, buddy, how you living?
You're just on my mind this morning. Want to say what's
Pasky? Yeah, hopefully they kept something going there. But former Aggie Pascal Siakam, according to Adrian Wojnarowski, is just they agree they'll sign it when the league allows them to sign it for 4 years, $189.5 million. All right, the PGA Tour has created a special exemption for Tiger Woods, and this is going to keep some of you happy and some of you miserable, because every time there's major, I get keep the Tiger Woods updates coming. And I get one of you who tells me, enough with Tiger Woods already. Well, based on his, according to the PGA Tour, exceptional lifetime achievement, he will get a sponsor exemption for the 8 signature events, which they have featured limited fields and bigger prize money and FedEx Cup points. He's won, when you look at some of the numbers, 82 times on the PGA Tour. I just, some of it is just comical. But he wouldn't otherwise qualify for these signature events with $20 million purses because he's just not playing enough to qualify. But the PGA Tour Policy Board approved this special sponsor exemption. They held a joint meeting with PGA Tour Enterprises, and they came up with it. So the memo came out, and it says an additional sponsor exemption will be created to recognize Tiger Woods in his own category as a player who has reached exceptional lifetime achievement threshold of 80-plus career wins. Okay, so now you got a threshold. So if somebody hits 80, they can have this exemption. JJ, no-brainer. Oh, how can you do something special for him? Because he did everything special for him. Because he's Tiger Woods and you're not. Because he created $20 million purses and made it possible, and you didn't. And I don't know how anybody will have a problem with this. I haven't heard anybody have a problem with it. I'm sure I will hear someone have a problem with it. But this is easy, and he might take advantage of it maybe once or twice a year.
This is a fascinating conversation because it kind of goes into what we've been discussing over the last couple of weeks. Now you have a player on the opposite end of the spectrum, say Caitlin Clark, this rookie superstar for the game, and that there's a conversation of how do you manage that versus probably the biggest superstar golf is ever going to have in terms of that crossover potential, and still trying to squeeze out the last ounces of it. And it makes a lot of sense, and I don't think you're going to have whoever that 72nd person would be in one of those events whining too much because it's Tiger Woods, y'all.
They're not. Are they even taking someone out? Or are they just adding? I guess that they are.
Well, they would be taking someone out to guarantee him a spot.
Well, the tour said it would also develop an alternate list. So how would they do? They're going to take someone out? I mean, whatever. It's not going to happen very often, and when it does, sorry.
In those 8 events, if he wants to play them.
And this is right. To your point, let's milk this as much as we can. You're not going to get that much. Like Tiger said, quote, I've only got one more tournament this season. Even if I win the British Open, I don't think I'll be in the FedEx Cup playoff. Just one more event, and then I'll come back whenever I come back. He's still working on his body. He's obviously still working on his game. If he decides next year, after basically taking a year off, right? He played in the LA tournament when he limped off, and then he played the majors. And he didn't make the cut in 2 of them so far out of the and dude, like this is easy. This is you brought up the WNBA. This is what the WNBA doesn't get. As much of this guy as you can get, and you're running out of time. Where Caitlin Clark's just starting, but you're running out of time, and it's easy. Good move, good answer, and by the way, it's almost more of a goodwill gesture than anything else right now because he's not going to use it very much. There may be an event here and there. Now, if his body gets right and his game gets right, by the way, next year when he comes back, he'll be 49. He's not getting any younger. These guys are still in their prime. They're still unbelievable. The field of golfers, the field of good golfers, is the deepest it has ever been. And so a 48, 49-year-old reconstructed man who's working on, struggling getting around the golf course because his leg has been destroyed. He wants to go out and compete? Look, man, knock yourself out. But Tiger also is not going to go out there unless he thinks he can win, unless he thinks he can compete. And in his mind, he thinks he can go out there. And look, there were glimpses last week. I mean, you were here Thursday last week. I mean, after 5 holes, Tiger Woods was at the top of the freaking leaderboard. It was awesome. And then he went bogey, 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 par, par, bogey, bogey.
I always think that's an interesting way to put to talk about a competitor. Like, he wouldn't be out there if he doesn't think he can win. Yeah. I think he would be. He knows he's not winning. Like, all these guys want to win. All these guys think they can win. Okay. Tiger Woods playing a major golf tournament is because he's Tiger Woods playing a major golf tournament.
I think in his mind, he thinks, well, I know I'm going to put it together. I can win. I can go out.
In his mind, but his body doesn't say that. All those guys step onto that course that weekend.
I think there's a difference between the guys who think they can win and want to. I
think Tiger's more than want to win than thinks he can win.
I think we're that way. I think in his mind, I don't know that he's there. There's the guys that go out there and think they can win, or the Koepkas and the Schefflers and the DeChambeaus and the Zanders.
Well, you have to be that way in golf.
Right.
What other way is there to be? Like, we're sitting here, like the conversation yesterday with Klay Thompson.
That's a good one.
It's like, well, adjust your expectation. But yet we sit here and try to act like Tiger Woods is the one that he's only out there because he knows he can win. He's not winning.
Field 154 dudes, right? One guy's going to win. That's actually really good. And I don't know that we'll ever know the answer until maybe a year. So do you think when Tiger Woods gets on a golf course, like last week at Pine, in his mind is his goal, he'll never tell you that, but in his mind is the goal to make the cut? Is to compete? Or do you think in his mind he thinks he can win the golf?
I think when you're been the greatest at something, that is always a fire that burns in you. But
realistically,
Tiger Woods, you saw him grinding on Friday. It was make the cut. Let's get to the weekend.
Well, I think at that point it was right. But when
I think it's when he starts the tournament.
You think so?
There's no track record recently. He's played in 9 PGA Tour events the last 2 years.
And that's why I'm telling you. And I know Kenny Thomas was in here yesterday. He thinks Tiger's going to win another one. I don't. When everybody was off of Tiger before he won 15, I was one of the few guys who said, I think he's coming back. He's going to win when he won the match. And JJ, that was one of the coolest things, period, I've ever seen in golf. I mean, in sports. It was one of the coolest comebacks, coolest stories, coolest days, Father's Day, his kids there. That dude coming up 18 at the Masters, the crowd going, beside themselves, transformed himself from kind of a prickly champion into this lovable comeback story. Like it was unbelievable. I don't think he can do it, though. Since then, he's had the car accident. I think with all the injuries he had before that, the car accident that shattered his leg. I mean, you've played golf. I've played golf. Your legs are kind of important to walk, not just to walk, but the torque. Go look at the swing. You're an athlete. Oh, by the way, you're 48, and there's a lot of miles on that bike. So you can't go out there and just play 4, 5, 6, 8 tournaments a year and think you're going to compete against these young studs who are the best in the world, who, by the way, are so freaking good. I mean, let's see them as much as we can. Don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you don't do it. I'm not telling you I don't want to see it, and I think the PGA Tour actually got one right this time. Don't you think? For a tour that's been just stumbling all over itself and everything it does, I think obvious one, but 100% got it right. Don't you think?
Yes.
Okay.
They've talked about maximizing their brand and the signature events. There's 8 of them throughout the season. Say, all right, Tiger, you can play in any of these if you can. That's a good business move.
Easy. All right, 505-246-0610. If you got a Willie Mays story, we'd love to hear it. If you were of the ilk that you got to see Willie Mays, if maybe you were one of the 13,767 at the sports stadium in 1969 when Willie Mays was the first batter ever at the Albuquerque Sports Stadium, we'd love to hear from you. 505-246-0610. When we come back, the Kansas City Chiefs or the Kansas Chiefs? They just dropped the city? They may move. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610 The Sports Hour.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, backed by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. See your baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking.
You know, Jeff at sports.blabq.com says it's from Sid. He says Eldrick T. Woods is finished, Mr. Simietta. As you know, one of the things I have been consistent about since listening to the show, beginning way back in 2009, often to strong disagreement, is Eldrick T. Woods would never win another major. Okay, I was one major off. You and I are in agreement now. We were in disagreement, and I was right then. But he is still, there's still interest. And Sid, they're going to try to milk it. I don't know. What would, like, it's amazing. Like, Michael Jordan's in the building. Oh, there's Michael Jordan, right? We love looking at Michael Jordan. Kind of the same thing. I mean, there's Tiger Woods, but you don't want to see him play. And I get it. You don't want to see him play if he can't compete. But he's you're going to see less and less of him, and he's going to phase out. But they're going to use it. Like, this is easy. It's easy. Tiger's not going to abuse this privilege, but he's going to utilize it when he thinks he's good enough to make the cut. But I agree with you, Sid. I don't think he's going to win another major either. All right, 505-246-0610. You ready to take the city out of Kansas City? You ready for that?
They're trying.
Kansas lawmakers in the state of... So if you're not familiar with the geography, Kansas City is in Missouri, but right on the Kansas-Missouri border, the Missouri River goes through. And so on the other side of the state line is still the Kansas City metropolitan area, which has 2.3 million residents. And many of them live on the other side of the Kansas state line. And Kansas, the state of, is making a run now at becoming the home for both the Royals and the Chiefs. You recall last month, the voters in Kansas City, Missouri, voted against the funding that would renovate both of their stadiums. Both the Kauffman Stadium and Arrowhead Stadium are pretty old places. And so there was bipartisan legislative supermajorities in the Kansas House okayed state bonds to help finance new stadiums and practice facilities on the Kansas side of the metropolitan area. So the plan started with a Republican-controlled legislature. It goes to a Democratic governor, Laura Kelly. She didn't say that she would promise that she'd sign it, but she said that, quote, Kansas now has the opportunity to become a professional sports powerhouse. The Chiefs and the Royals, both their front offices, said they're looking forward to considering the options to go to Kansas. The lease on the complexes in Missouri, and I've been there. There's one big giant parking lot, it's kind of a cool little setup that they have just outside of town, and it's a big parking lot, and the two stadiums are right next to each other. Their leases run through January of 2031, but they've already said that they need to start planning for the future. It's interesting to me. Good for Kansas. And if there's money there and they can do it and they think it's going to help them, and I guess you would just become the Kansas Chiefs and the Kansas Royals, right?
Yeah. Drop the city out of it. And this is the battles that occur, man. For as much winning as Kansas City has done, that ownership group hasn't wanted to invest their own money into the stadium. And then when the voters, which we're seeing that across the country, they're like, hold up, we don't want to just give you a bunch of free money to give you free money. Then this is what happens. And then you have other people that try to jump at the opportunity to take a team and say, hey, we'll give you all the money you want. Bring your team home and build you the brand new shiny spaceship stadium. It's sports business.
And so the people in Kansas City, Missouri are saying the Chiefs and the Royals are playing us. They're using us right now. They're using us for leverage. It's all about leverage. The teams are in an exceptional leverage position, and they're using us. Maybe the Kansas City will still benefit. You're still the major metropolitan area. People still fly into your airport, probably stay in your hotels, probably stay on your side of the river, because that's where the city is. But and I don't know how far over. I don't know what the geography is over there. Would it be just on the other side? Would it be? I used to know the town. What's the town? JJ, when I left Channel 7 years ago, I was a finalist for the weekend sports job at the Hearst station in Kansas City. So I was looking at homes there. So I kind of got familiar when Len Dawson was still the sports guy there. So I kind of got familiar with that whole little area. But good for Kansas. If they got the money and they want to lure it and they think it's beneficial and financially feasible for them, good for them. Go out and try. All right, Josh Sushan's going to be with us coming up at 9:15. Isotopes baseball in Oklahoma City. That is at 9:45 is when he is. What time we go off the air today? 9:30 something?
9:40
ish. All right, so we'll talk to Josh at 9:15. Topes are on. When we come back, got Willie Mays thought. Love to hear that. United plays FC Juarez tonight in a friendly, and make that trek back up across North America and bring the Stanley Cup with you. Well, you can leave the Stanley Cup here because it's going to be handed out. I know you got to bring it with you, don't you? You got to bring it with you. Oilers have made this thing really, really interesting. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Center.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mir here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com.
Hi, I'm Steve Stunker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet.
Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Now, voted the best sports show in New Mexico
for 5 years running.
It's the OD in the AM with 3-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Symbieta and JJ Buck.
All right, a little breaking news out of the NBA this morning as we join you on Juneteenth. If you have the day off, enjoy it. Nobody drive Jeff Symbieta and JJ Buck. 2 things in the NBA this morning that are coming down. Former New Mexico State Aggie Pascal Siakam has agreed to a new deal with the Pacers. Aggie fans, Aggie boosters, Aggie collective, lob your buddy Pascal a call. 4 years, $189.5 million. $43.5 million for Pascal. So, I mean, good for him. Attaboy. And I don't know, you can call it the Siakam Center or the Pascal Palace. See what he can do for you. And JJ, this is a guy that, didn't the Lakers, were they interested in Monty Williams when they hired Darvin Ham? Monty was the head coach of the Phoenix Suns. He's a 2-time NBA Coach of the Year. He has been fired by the Detroit Pistons. JJ, they owe him $65 million on his deal, and they fired him. What do they expect him to do this year? This one's a stunner to me. I know they were horrible. They were the NBA worst, 14-68. He had 1 season with a franchise. He had that roster to work with. By every account, Monty Williams is a pretty good coach, right?
And by every account, this is why the Detroit Pistons are a terrible franchise. They overpaid Monty Williams because they're like, hey, you're an experienced coach. Why don't you come in and develop this young roster? And then they fire him after 1 season.
And they owe him $65 million. Does this shake the Lakers up at all? Like, it sounds like the Lakers are set to hire J.J. Redick. It sounds like that may happen today. The draft is a week from tomorrow. J.J. Redick, James Borrego. If you're Rob Pelinka, did you all of a sudden go, whoa, Monty Williams is on the market?
You text LeBron and say, hey, do you want to interview
Hey, LeBron,
Monty
how do you
Williams?
feel about Monty Williams? I mean, it's 100% right. We're going to draft your kid at 55. He'll still be around in the second round. We get our second round pick is at 55. But how do you feel about Monty Williams? Man, I thought I told you. It's JJ. Yeah, all right. Just checking. Because Monty's pretty good. And, he's already making $65 million, so we might not have to pay him that much.
And you just, in the NBA, with coaches, you just really have no idea. Phoenix was willing to move on. Detroit goes all in, and then they go a completely different direction after 1 year. Like, that is the hardest league to figure out coaches in for so many teams.
He signed so Monty Williams signed a 6-year deal for $78.5 million. He's got 5 years and $65 million left. They're going to have to eat 65 and pay another coach, by the way. They got to gargle $65 million. I get it, man. If this was Urban Meyer, all right, fine, we're going to eat it. By every account, this guy's a really good coach. This one's 505-246-0610. Lenny, good morning. You're on the Sports Animal. How you living, Lenny?
Good. Well, congratulations to Boston. I can't say anything about it. They probably put on one of the top 7 all-time seasons.
Yeah, I mean,
going 80-20 for the playoffs included.
Yeah, it was a great one of the great playoff runs. They played 3 over the minimum, and they were pretty dominant. Yeah, and
yeah. So I mean, I thought Dallas would do it. There was other people that picked them, but no excuses. They stepped up, and somebody's going to have to get in Luka's head, get him on a weight program, and then get in his head about whining after every play.
He's going to have to grow up, man. He's going to have to mature.
It's just getting old. And Boston has a good team in place now for the next 2 or 3 years before they have to worry about the second tax apron.
Yes. Yeah. No, they're going to have to start getting creative. But next year, I think they're good.
And then when we talk about coaches, who was the coach fired from Milwaukee when they were like 30-14 to start the season?
Adrian Griffin.
Okay, so why is his name coming up for coaching over Redick even?
Yeah, that's interesting, JJ. His name's completely, he's disappeared. Evidently, there was something going on.
What happened with Doc Rivers being the saver for Milwaukee? How did that work out?
Well, I mean, it's kind of hard when Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard get hurt. And you're playing a pretty good team.
And then what about Terry Stotts, who quit on Griffin also before the season began?
The Adrian Griffin thing, obviously something was going on internally. Giannis.
No, I understand, but everyone's going in on J.J. Redick, and, it sounds good, and he knows analytics. He's never coached anywhere ever. And now you're going to throw him not into a small market team, but the biggest market team outside of the Knicks in the country.
Steve Kerr had never coached. Mark Jackson had never coached, right? I mean, and those
okay,
guys did, right?
Okay, but where did they start their coaching at when they were thrown into the fire?
At Golden State, those two.
Oh, so is Golden State, at that time, was Golden State the media market it is now?
Well, it was always a big market. It wasn't the basketball-focused market, but it was always number 5
right.
market.
So, I mean, you got all these other, and with Monty Williams being fired, he probably has a blessing in disguise leaving Detroit.
Yeah, here, give me my $65
million. If I'm the
million.
Lakers,
To go to the beach.
I'm calling him up and going, JJ, I'm sorry, but I found a better coach.
Feels that way. Yeah, it's interesting. Now, Lenny, good to hear you, man. Don't be a stranger on it. Thanks. There's guys that have come out of nowhere and coached, right? Managed. There's always a guy who came out of the broadcast booth somewhere, isn't there? Feels like. And some work, some don't.
That is correct.
And probably more don't work than do. I'm just looking down the list right now. Like I'm staring at teams. I'm trying to see, somebody jumping off the page. At some point, you got to get your first job, but normally you're an assistant coach or whatever. Was Phil Jackson an assistant anywhere before he got the job? He probably was. I think he was with the Knicks before he got the job with the Bulls. And it's a lot easier when you go in and you coach Michael Jordan or LeBron James or Kobe Bryant or Steph Curry, right?
Absolutely.
The Monty Williams thing is crazy. It honestly, dude, if I'm sitting back there and I'm interviewing J.J. Redick again, and I was ready to offer him the job today, and you're Rob Pelinka, and you're having your coffee right now, and this just hit your phone. You're the Lakers general manager. Are you not calling LeBron and say, hey, did you see what happened? LeBron's sleeping. Man, why are you calling me? I thought we got this done. Why are you waking me up? Oh, LeBron, look, Monty Williams just got fired. They're paying him $65 million. We could probably get him, I thought this was done. I told you to hire J.J. Redick. Isn't that how the conversation? Yes, sir. Yes, Your Highness. Yes, King. I just want to check. All right. How's this going to look? And maybe nobody gives a damn. But when we sit here a week from Friday, odds are that the Lakers are going to have hired LeBron James's podcast partner as their head coach, and he's never coached a game. And then the odds are every report now is saying nobody's touching Bronny, and he's going to be there at 55 when the Lakers draft the second round. They're going to take Bronny in the second round. So they just drafted the guy's kid, who nobody else drafted, and hired his buddy to be their coach.
Be a wild 2 years in Los Angeles.
What do we do? I mean, at some point, it's all on him, right? They better win a championship. Does that affect his legacy when it's all said and done? One way or the other. If they win, he constructed a championship team. And if not, I mean, if not what? They were a championship team. But what did he do to the Lakers? And where does he leave them when they leave? Because he doesn't give a damn. Right? And he says, everybody say, well, he had nothing to do with the coaching search. Come on.
No, we know that's not true. And that's basketball, the way it's constructed, you should have even if it's not the final decision, like if you're paying someone $200, $300 million to play basketball on your team, then you should have at least let them in the loop. And LeBron James is in a different level than just in the loop. And I think it's getting to a point where a lot of Laker fans are just ready for this to be done, or ready for LeBron James to go away.
I think that's right. Yeah, I think that's right. And I don't know that he's going there. In fact, I think you got at least another 2 years. All right, 505-246-0610. How to get in today. I want to remind you of this. And again, our thoughts, our prayers, our just our hearts are with all the people who are affected by the fires going on down in Ruidoso. And Home Life Furniture over on the west side are taking donations and saying, together we can make change better for those people. People in Ruidoso need help. Blankets, towels, toiletries, air mattress, water, pet supplies, sleeping bag, games and books and puzzles and hygiene products. People are saying, how can I help? And this is how. You can go and donate those items at Home Life Furniture on the north side of Cottonwood Mall. They're open from 10 to 8. Go by there. Their number is 505-792-8300. If you've got water, blankets, pillows, toiletries, air mattress, whatever you can do to help these people. Last count, I heard 1,400 structures have been destroyed. And they're going to need all of us to help rebuild Ruidoso. And this thing is 0% contained. It's dry. It's hot. It's going to get windy today. Our love is with them. Our thoughts are there. But if you can help, it's Home Life Furniture, and it's up on the north end of Cottonwood. You can help. All right, when we come back, got your phone calls going. I want to talk a little bit more about Willie Mays. We got to hit this down. I mean, holy smokes, that was a great watch last night. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM at AM 610, the Sports Hour.
This report is sponsored by
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit HansWhitlerAuto.com.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mir here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I give you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, ripped, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
First batter ever at the Albuquerque Sports Stadium. Yeah, literally, Addie came up with that yesterday. I was on the couch last night. She's like, "Dad, did you see Willie Mays died?" And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, no. And then she's like, "Yeah, did you know he was the first batter ever at the Albuquerque Sports Stadium in 1960?" No, I looked it up. I'm sure it's actually exhibition between the Indians, Cleveland Indians, and the Giants back. 505-246-0610. Tony, good morning. You're on the Sports Channel. What's good?
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Life's grooving. What's happening?
Oh, congrats to the Celtics. Yeah. I hope that Knicks fan that called in that other day isn't too hurt about all this, going on. Well, you know how Knicks fans are.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're hoping he's not too hurt also.
Oh, yeah. But, hey, how many rounds are there in the draft for the NBA?
Two.
So, in essence, the Lakers are going to waste a second-round pick on Bronny James.
Well, it's funny you say waste. I mean, the
team ain't going to build around him. The team, he ain't going to be a focal. He ain't going to be nothing.
How many second-round picks are you building? But think about it. How many second-round picks are you building?
They're doing it to make LeBron happy. How many more years realistically does LeBron have?
2.
2. So they're going to waste a second-round pick to make LeBron happy for another 2 years.
Yes.
That's ridiculous, man. That's ridiculous. And then I didn't know, JJ. Why hire JJ Redick?
Why do you think? Same reason they're taking LeBron's kid.
I mean, I know it's to make him happy, but I mean, aren't they looking at the big picture here? You know, the long term. I mean, you're going to hire this. Are you going to hire JJ Redick? Which, I mean, he seems like a sharp guy. He seems like a smart guy, but like you got to be kidding me. They're doing all this to make LeBron happy for 2 more years, and that's just going to set their franchise back. 5, 6, 7, maybe even.
That's what. You know what else too? And I know LeBron's trying to win another one for his legacy, but I think in the long term, this hurts his legacy because I agree with you in some respects that just kowtowing to him instead of doing what's best for the organization is going to leave them in a worse spot. And when he leaves and they're garbage, Laker fan is going to be bitter.
Yeah. When he leaves, Anthony Davis is not going to be there. Anthony Davis is going to get out of L.A. quicker than anything. It's just, I don't. Okay, me, I'm not a Laker fan. I hate the Lakers. I'm not a LeBron fan. I don't like LeBron. I respect him as a player because I mean he is what, top 3 of all time?
He's all right.
Or do you see him as the second greatest of all time?
No, he's okay. I mean, he's a I'm kidding. Yeah, he's one of the,
but I just think it's just, they're catering way too much to him for 2 years. And well, then again, if they win a championship in these next 2 years, all this is like, you know what? Hey, this is why they did it. But are they really that close to winning a championship? No, they're not. And then drafting Ronnie James, wow, that's going to help. But anyway, I don't have to worry about that in Boston because we're sitting pretty. We're probably going to run it back next year too.
Maybe let's see how it all plays out. All right, good
you
call.
Guys have a great day.
All right, later. Look, are they close? I don't know. They were the 7th seed. They think they got to run at it. They think they can put some things together. But yeah, that's what they're.
Nothing that happens at 55 is going to set the Lakers back. They're going to take a step back once LeBron leaves. So to me, I don't understand what that means. Like they're going to set the franchise back. Yeah, when he leaves, they're not going to be as good for a year or 2.
Well, when he leaves, they're going to open up a hell of a lot of cap space, and theoretically,
and I don't think Anthony Davis immediately bolts down.
Right, because theoretically, they're attractive to whoever the big free agent is that year to come play with Anthony Davis.
So I think there's a lot of assumptions being made about the 17th pick, the 55th pick. That's not changing who the Lakers are this season or affecting them there 3 years from now.
Well, 55th pick. When was the last time anybody built around a second round? I mean, it was Nikola Jokic.
Keep your fingers crossed.
And it took a long time.
That you can develop a rotation player out of the second round. And then, for JJ Redick, this is actually a great situation to go into. Because you can take a step back, learn more of the ins and outs of the day-to-day of being a head coach, having that experience, leaning on LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And then, if you're able to stick around that long, Monty Williams could be done after 2 years if they hired Monty Williams. James Borrego could be done after a year. There's no guarantees with the way any franchise operates right now.
Especially this one.
In the NBA. But to me, I don't think it's crazy to hire JJ Redick, let him be with LeBron for 2 years, and then go after that. I think it'd be crazy to hire JJ Redick if you're the Detroit Pistons. If you're a franchise like that,
but that's
it makes a
where
lot of sense.
That's where a guy like JJ Redick normally goes. Well, that's not. I think it's crazy that the Detroit Pistons fired Monty Williams.
It's not crazy. That's why they're a terrible franchise.
What the hell did they expect? Oh, we gave him $75 million. Yeah, and you gave him that roster. 505-246-0610. JT, good morning. You're on League Sports Out. What's up, JT?
Hello.
Hello. JT. The hell did he go? All right, JT gone.
He's somewhere in New Mexico, probably.
He did say hello. I mean, that was nice. All right, the hockey last night. I was glued. The intensity coming out. You got one team in desperation and one team trying to hoist the cup. And I'm not going to try to sell you on playoff hockey. You're either in or you're out, and that's cool. but the level of play, the shorthanded goals, the absolute artistry of Connor McDavid. And JJ, I'm not going to pretend I watch him a bunch during the season, but I have watched him a bunch during the postseason. He is special. Like, this is, I don't know if the Bedard kid at Chicago is going to be this. He was the next coming. But best since what? I mean, who was the last guy we saw like this? Because he's different.
Sidney Crosby.
All right. The move he made.
Nathan McKinnon.
On the assist.
I think McDavid is the best in the game.
4 points last night for him.
Best offensive player in the game.
He's unbelievable. Are they going to pull this off? So we sat around and we said, all right, well, the Panthers got beat 8-1. And it was just they wanted to get back and celebrate in South Florida. And so they were all ready to do it. And it was 5-3 last night. I forgot about the end. By the way, the play that Tkachuk made to keep the empty net out, and then McDavid scored again, right? At the end, did you see the play at the end of the game? Where he sprinted down on that empty net and went full, laying on the ice. There was no way he was getting, and swept it off the goal line. Was unbelievable. And he swept it off to the left. Nobody was there. He went to the stick of Connor McDavid, and he fired it into the empty net. That was as good of a play as I've seen. I mean, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
The empty net at the end of the game? That was insane. Are they... So the Oilers win 8-1. Everybody thinks the Panthers are going to come back. All right, they're going to win. Well, now it's going back up there where they're bonkers. All the momentum's with Edmonton. I mean, if there's a Game 7, this thing's up in the air.
This is a terrible spot for Florida because all of a sudden, Edmonton is getting shots on goal. Edmonton is confident on the offensive end. It comes down to Stuart Skinner.
Their goaltender for Edmonton.
He's a roller coaster ride.
But he's been damn good.
Yeah, but that's 2 games. And where was he with the first 3 games?
Yeah, but I mean,
and that's why it's interesting. But man, if it gets to Game 7, then we throw everything out the window. Florida,
all the pressure's on Florida at that point.
Yeah.
Because
the pressure's still on Florida right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. One team in the history of the Stanley Cup Final has come back from a 3-0 deficit. Panthers were up 3-0. That was in 1942, JJ, if I'm not mistaken. The Toronto Maple Leafs did it. 80, however many years ago. Like, when you're up 3-0, it's over. And it isn't over. And this Edmonton team is fighting. And I'm just going to tell you, last night was a hell of a watch. And watching all those bitter Floridians sitting around in the stands afterwards, like, they were so ready to just go out in Miami and go last night. And the cup was there, and now they got a gigantic trip across the continent going back up to Alberta for this thing. Game 5, what is it, 6? It's Game 6 or tomorrow night up in Edmonton, Alberta should be special. All right, 505-246-0610. That's how to get here today. 505-246-0610. Josh Sushan's going to join us from Oklahoma at 9:15. Where the Topes play the Oklahoma City Baseball Club ready earlier today. They'll go at 9:45 is when we come back, what does comeback player of the year mean in the National Football? It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610 Sports Hour.
This report has been sponsored by
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Evergard Roofing and Solar. For nearly 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been working with New Mexicans to enhance their homes and businesses. For all your roofing and solar needs in New Mexico, call 505-821-9543.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, ripped, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in Burquia. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mir here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. and Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So
9.9 FM and AM 610, the sports animal.
We just had Tony, a Celtics fan, call in. Talking a little bit about the Lakers. Ernie sent me a text. He says, I love you, brother. It drives me a little bit nuts. I'm a Celtics fan, and just now, even the Celtics fan is talking about the Lakers. Guys, we ought to be talking about the Celtics. They did it, and yet we're talking about the freaking Lakers. I'm looking up at the screen, talking heads right now. Best franchise, Lakers or Celtics? The Lakers are getting a whole lot of talk in this. You know, the Celtics just won their 18th banner. That's the best of all time. I am been surprised how much Laker talk.
I'm not.
Is it because they're hiring a coach? Is it because
they have a coach opening?
Yeah.
You have the Bronny James stuff a week away from the draft.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
And the Celtics just passed them by one championships. So they're going to be compared.
I got one other thing on that, but I want to hit what I just teased before, and then we'll come back to that. I asked you what comeback player of the year means in the NFL. The Associated Press is clarifying their criteria for the NFL. Comeback player of the year, because I think it's always been vague. So is MVP for that matter. They said the winner should be a player who overcame injury or illness, and not just a player who followed a bad year with the team. You okay with that?
I am, because that to me is most improved player as opposed to comeback.
I like that. Okay. Geno Smith won comeback player of the year in 2020. He played well that year after he was mostly a backup the year before, but he wasn't overcoming injury or illness. Same with Joe Flacco, who won the award last year, but again, only came back from decline. All right. All right. The Lakers Celtics thing is interesting, and Ernie hit on something. It reminded me of something. So yesterday, between periods, I flipped over, and ESPN was showing that 30 for 30 series. You know, what do they call the Lakers Celtics series? You know, with Ice Cube and Mark Wahlberg, and I was watching some of them. And I caught a part, and Addie and I were sitting there and watching this. And I'm like, here, back this up. She just walked in. And I'm like, holy smokes, this is the WNBA right now. And it was 1987. You know where I'm going with this? It was 1987, and the Celtics had just beaten the Pistons in the playoffs. And Dennis Rodman said after they lost, he was then with the Pistons, about Larry Bird, who, by the way, every time I watch that thing, I'm reminded how great Larry Bird was. Like, I mean, unbelievably stupid good. But Rodman said that if Larry Bird was a black player, he'd just be another good player. And so then they went to Isaiah Thomas, and Isaiah Thomas, yeah, no, I agree. If he was black, he'd just be another good guy. And then he laughed about it. And it went nuts. It went 1987 nuts. You know what I mean? Like pre-social media nuts. And I'm like, oh. I mean, am I living this right now with Caitlin Clark? And
a little bit.
Right? And Addie's like, is that just the evolution? Like the NBA, the WNBA is just 30-something years later, and that's just the evolution of these things? And I had totally forgotten about all this. Isaiah went on. So the Celtics went on to the next round. I guess it was the finals. And Isaiah went on the pregame show with Brent Musburger on CBS to explain or try to explain away what he said. And it was clumsy. And then they held a press conference. And Larry Bird came in and sat next to Isaiah. And he said, you know, it doesn't bother me. He said, yeah, you know, I had to work harder because I'm slow and I can't jump. And he laughed about it, you know, because, you know, well, white men can't jump. And he laughed. He says, like, y'all, if it doesn't bother me. It really doesn't bother me. If it doesn't bother me, it shouldn't bother you all. And, you know, Isaiah and I are good. We have no problem. And that's all I got to say. I'm going to get out. And he shook Isaiah's hand and walked out of the press conference and left Isaiah to talk about it. And it kind of died down from him. And I thought it was really interesting, and I don't know how that would play in today's world. You know, what if someone came out and just said if Luka was just if he was a black player, he'd be just another player. But I ran that thing back, and I'm like, holy smokes. Are we not living that right now?
History repeats itself.
And I'm like, okay, is there a way? But I don't think they would do this. Could Caitlin Clark sit with Angel Reese or Kennedy Carter and say, you know, I got no problem with it and you should be there? And first of all, they would never say, I don't think Angel Reese and Kennedy Carter would sit with her and be good with it. I thought the maturity of Larry Bird was insane at that. And by the way, Larry Bird at that point won 3 MVPs, right? He had already proven himself. He had won championships and 3 most valuable players. But she's not Larry Bird. And so I guess there obviously is a difference. But I'm like, holy smokes. This is just resonating in my head. And this was 1987, so it's 29 years. Or 29. 39 years ago? But I don't know. Did you remember watching that scene? Because I know you watched those documentaries, didn't you?
Didn't click until
I
drew the comparisons.
It hit me yesterday, man. I was literally just flipping over in between the hockey, and Larry Bird was funny about it. And by the way, you know who's great in that documentary is Walton. And the whole Walton, the way they imitate Walton and him loving being there, and the fact that he just passed away. The time on this was great, but yeah, it was bonkers, man. Just sitting there listening to Bird and go, yeah, no, I mean, obviously I had to work harder, you know, because I'm slow and I can't jump. And then he starts laughing because there was that second of can I laugh, and then he laughs, so everybody in the room laughs, right? Oh, he's joking. It was. I'm just saying, man. I don't know how far we've got. It is 97, 07, 17. What is that, 34 years? I don't even, what year is it? 37 years? It's insane. All right, Josh Sushan's going to be with us coming up at 9:15, the voice of the Albuquerque Isotopes. Topes in Oklahoma City today. We're going to talk to him about his team's on a little bit of it. And the passing of Willie Mays. If you got a Willie Mays story, and I gave you an Albuquerque connection earlier, Willie Mays was the first batter ever to step to the plate in the brand new Albuquerque Sports Stadium in 1969. The Giants were in town playing the Cleveland Indians in an exhibition game, and Willie Mays was the guy. Isn't that crazy? Love your thoughts on Willie Mays if you got it. Hey, if you've been a victim of home or business break-in, you know all too well it usually takes hours, if not days, for police to respond. They simply don't have enough officers to cover all the calls they get for service. When it's your home or your business, you need a much quicker response. How does 7 minutes or less sound? That's normally the response for customers of International Protective Service, IPS. IPS has officers strategically placed around Albuquerque and now in Santa Fe as well, so they can react quickly. Many times they catch criminals in the act. They detain them and call the police to come pick them up. IPS also provides standing guards if you need eyes on your property around the clock. They install alarms and camera systems and have state-of-the-art facilities to monitor those cameras 24/7. It raises the level of security around your home and your business. I've trusted IPS for years. They've given my family a sense of security. Now my neighbors use IPS. They're by every single day is IPS. So who's watching your home when you're away on summer vacation? Don't let it be the bad guys. A quick response to your alarm or standing guards at your business. It's what IPS does. It helps you sleep better at night. So who's watching your home when you're away? Make it be the good guys. You can't prevent all the crime, but if you got no protection, you're more likely to be victim. Here's their number, 505-897-2420. It's 505-897-2420. They're online at ipsglobal.com. IPS is passionate about making Albuquerque and Santa Fe better and safer places to live.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Cross-Camara here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready.
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Well, I'm going to the Frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
It's you today. It's the opening drive. Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck, 505-246-0610. Edward, thanks for holding. You're on the Sports Animal. Good day, sir.
Good day, gentlemen. Congratulations on yet another title for you guys as morning show of the year.
Thank you. It's title time.
4 in a row. You're like Thomas Edward Brady, you guys.
What did I say? I think it's 8 out of 9. I think. JJ, is that what the number was? I think that's right.
Hey, all these wins and championships, you know who the biggest winner is right now in the sports world? William Belichick.
Well, yeah, I mean,
he's winning, brother.
What a bionic leg he's got.
My man is winning.
Yep.
Screw the 9, or what does he have, 8 Super Bowl rings? Who was the defensive coordinator and 6. My man is winning, and you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Hey, before I talk about the great Willie Mays, I have a take on Tatum, but I'll save it for another day. But let me tell you, and he's an amazing champion. He's battling Travis Kelce right now for the most inauthentic, scripted, trying to create a persona person in sports. We have a text thread, me and some buddies just like the ones we have, our group. And my son jokingly said early in the fourth quarter, it won't surprise me if Tatum recreates the Kobe pose with the trophy. And I freaking kid you not, 5 minutes after they win the championship, there he was, same posture, same exact pose. I just can't take it anymore. That's why he's very unlikable with people outside of Boston. But we'll talk about it later. Hey, Willie Mays, he was before our time, Jeff. You and I are the same age. And I think that Barry Bonds is the greatest player I've ever seen. I know that you think the kid, who's amazing, Ken Griffey Jr., no argument there. There's a case for Nolan Ryan, but Willie Mays in the 1970s, and you remember this, Jeff, they had these little books in our libraries, and they would highlight superstars. And I remember reading about Gale Sayers and Willie Mays, and all the superstars, Joe Namath. And it was an enchantment of our youth. And now these legends are dying and passing on. And I'm just glad that we've experienced it. The stories, the gentleman from Roswell, and Adolf is basically a walking encyclopedia, a historical encyclopedia. I thoroughly enjoy, and you never know what you're going to get on this show. And I'm very grateful for it. You guys have done a great job kind of sharing those moments. The 1987 situation with Bird, I remember that distinctly. And he made a steal in the game, and they won a very heartbreaking game for the Detroit Pistons. And Isaiah said, to quote, if he was white, he'd just be considered another black. He'd be considered another great player. And Bird came in and completely diffused it, right? And those 80s, it was a rock fight in the playoffs. You had Sidney Moncrief with the Bucks, those great teams. You had to get through Dominic Wilkins and those great Atlanta Hawks teams. And I could see how disappointed Isaiah Thomas was, and it catapulted them to 2 championships in a few years later. But yeah, that was very divisive. And if it happened in today's world, it'd have blown up. But I appreciate what you guys do. Thank you for letting me share my thoughts. And I might dial into Belichick today and give him some advice on his recent winnings. So you guys have a beautiful day.
Rudy, you're up next on the Sports Animal. Hi, Rudy.
Well, I don't know if I share Edwards' enthusiasm for cradle robbing, but, you know. That's 20. That's Belichick.
She's 24 years old. He's 72. Is that right?
What
do you think?
I don't know.
Right.
I'm just going to reserve judgment. I actually met Bill Belichick when I was doing some NFL player stuff, and they came out to look at my guy, and they ended up signing him to a free agent contract with the Jets, and then they cut him in about 4 days. So me and Belichick don't have the best relationship. I don't know how old. When did the sports stadium open?
Hey, could we do this? Can I hold you through the break? Because we got the news. All right, I'm gonna do that. When we come back, I want to hear this story. I had a feeling there was a sports stadium Willie Mays story in there. Pass through Willie Mays. We're hearing your stories on that. Tiger getting the lifetime exception pass into the signature events. Josh Sushan at 9:15 leading into Ice Cubs baseball. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 630 Sports Center.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mir here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. See your baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Hey, look, it's Dwight Goodman.
This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh? I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom. Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight. Boom. Boom.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. And Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
want the open for it? It's the opening drive. Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck. It's let's start the third hour today without any fanfare, without any music. I don't need music. I don't need fanfare. I just need y'all. 505-246-0610. Josh Sushan's going to join us here in a few minutes. Rudy, thanks for holding, and I want to hear your story. What's happening?
Yeah, so, I'm 10 years old, and for Christmas, I get a book called The History of Baseball. And, I loved baseball when I was a kid. I still do. But I devoured that book, read it until I memorized most of it. And my team has always been the Dodgers. And so I'm there. We open the new sports stadium, and here comes the Giants and the Indians. But I didn't care because I wanted to see Willie Mays. And my buddy and I was, the Dodgers, and he was the Giants. And we'd play wiffle ball in the backyard. And that's one of my great memories with my dad because I told him I want to go to the game. He arranged to get tickets, and the line was down the street, down the block. 13,000 people show up to open the sports stadium. And first guy at the plate, Willie Mays.
So you remember you were there?
I was there.
It had to be like Willie Mays was freaking Willie Mays in 1969. Willie Mays was Willie Mays at that point, right?
That's why I didn't. I wanted the Dodgers to be playing in the exhibition game, but it's the San Francisco Giants.
So what was this town like? It's pre-social media, right? But Albuquerque was a smaller place. It still relatively is. But what was this place like with the biggest star in the game coming to town?
It was mania. Everybody wanted his autograph. I think he signed a few, but kids were just there with whatever Willie could sign. And I was thinking, well, I'll go get his autograph, but it was just too much. My dad said, just stay here. Let's just watch the game. And so we sat there, and, it was just a wonderful time.
It was the opening of the sports stadium, which was, at that time, state-of-the-art, beautiful. That had to be one of the coolest days in Albuquerque. 1969, we opened this brand-new ballpark, right, which at the time, by every account I've ever read, was one of the most beautiful minor league ballparks, period. And then Willie Mays is the first guy the first batter at the sports stadium in Albuquerque, New Mexico in 1969.
Right. It was the biggest deal ever. And, the funny thing is what we really missed as kids was the old Tingley Field because they were steel bleachers. And on bat night, all the kids would get their bats and pound them, and it sounded like thunder. And so we kind of missed that because it was concrete. But the ballpark was brand new. It was so pristine. It was so amazing. I think back on that day, and it was just, as a kid, it was the greatest day of my life.
Really? That's something. I love that.
It was unbelievable, and it's a memory. I was sitting there when I heard about Willie Mays passing. Of course, the first thing I thought was my dad and I going to the sports stadium.
Yeah, I'm glad you shared that, man. Thank you for that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Willie Mays. I don't know if y'all knew that. And again, Addie told me last night. She's like, Dad, did you know Willie Mays was the first batter, the first guy to come to the plate in the old Albuquerque Sports Stadium in 1969? I did not know. We'll talk to Josh Sushan coming up here in about 10 minutes about that, and then we'll have Isotopes baseball against Oklahoma City. Goes on the air at 9:45 today with it at 10 o'clock. Tea time against Oklahoma City. Got a bunch of texts. 505-246-0610 is the phone line and text line here on the Sports Animal. This one's in on the Lakers and Bronny. Says Bronny's going to be a bust. It's going to be a volatile, dysfunctional atmosphere. We saw it here in Loboland with Craig and Cullen Neal. Viva Home Life Furniture, they are matching all cash donations. This is really cool, and I want to hit this again for you. For those of you who want to help the victims, the people who are being affected by the wildfires in Ruidoso. And again, our thoughts, our love, our prayers, everything. Because last count I heard was 1,400 structures were damaged or destroyed by these fires, and 0% containment. It is Home Life Furniture, north end of Cottonwood Mall. They're taking donations, and they're going to get this stuff to the people who are in need. Blankets, pillows, air mattresses, hygiene products, sleeping bags, pet supplies, waters, books, games, puzzles, towels, whatever you can do. People are saying, how can I help? This is how you can help. Home Life Furniture is there to support them. And if you can get out there and help, go on in and do that. 505-246-0610 is how to get here today. 888-922-0610. Also on the text line this morning, Monty Williams. JJ, this is funny. Monty Williams and Jimbo Fisher should start a podcast, how to get paid a small fortune to stay home. So Monty Williams is getting paid $65 million to go away, and Jimbo Fisher, I think, when he got fired at Texas A&M, was owed north of $70 million, right? $76 million or something like that?
Yes.
I want in. I've been fired. I got a 13-week severance. I thought that was kind of a big deal when I walked away. They gave me 13 weeks because it was in my contract. $65 million. The Pistons fired Monty Williams today after 1 year as their head coach. It's insane. All right, what else you got? As you go through, we hit the Stanley Cup Finals today. I gave you that. The Calais Campbell thing is interesting. JJ, Calais Campbell recently signed with the Dolphins. It brings a lot of experience. He knows the defense and all that. 38 years old. Sometimes there's a name. Sometimes there's not much game with the name. Calais Campbell still have it?
Yes, he does.
All right.
But he's that piece for a team that's right there on the edge. And the Dolphins, they've invested a lot when you go back to Bradley Chubb, what they've done with the offensive weapons, and they need some consistency. And it's a gigantic year for that team with Tua and the contract question marks. Is he going to get an extension? How much is this extension going to be worth? But I'm not concerned about the offense. I think they'll be able to get it done. You still need to play defense at a high level in that division. The one guy they got to take down is Josh Allen. I think having a veteran presence like Calais Campbell in that defense, those are the little things that can help push you over the edge.
Yeah. It's interesting. He says, I'm going to play all over the place. Yes. We haven't really talked about like how they want to use me, but just knowing the defensive coordinator and his mindset. We're going to move around a little bit in different situations. I don't want it to go too crazy, but it's going to be really good defense. JJ, every team right now, except for, and I said except for Carolina, but you made me really think about this because I know I said they're interesting. There's kind of, I don't even want to say kind of, I could give you a really compelling storyline, I think, for every team in the National Football League as we get ready to open camps next month. I mean, go down the list. Every single team in the National Football League, you can find a really compelling story, whether it's how's the quarterback going to come back or their new coach or, well, the Cowboys, or, I mean, everywhere. Do we get this way every June, July? Like, I'm really kind of jonesing now a little bit to see what. And look, I'm in no hurry because when football season hits, that means my life accelerates. I could use a few more months, but I am really, really, really excited about some of these storylines.
Well, the NFL, it's not just the way they market it; it's backed up by performances on the field. There's the other leagues, the NBA. NHL, Major League Baseball. Before the season starts, teams have zero chance of doing anything. Zero. And it's not even like, oh, this is a miracle. No, zero. The NFL, Baker Mayfield comes in and wins the division. The NFL, Bryce Young could somehow win 10 games and go to the playoffs next year.
You think Bryce Young could win 10 games next year?
In that division, it's entirely
possible.
possible.
I will take that.
Because with Derek Carr and the Saints, and Baker Mayfield can he be consistent
in Atlanta
at that level? Kirk Cousins, we're putting so much on these guys immediately after an Achilles injury, and we've never seen that.
Bryce Young's not winning. Now it'd be something if he turns into a quarterback that they don't feel horrible. I think that's the goal there. Can he turn into a quarterback that we don't feel like we wasted our draft pick?
9 games can win you that division. potentially.
Yeah, but
because
I don't
it's
think
a giant unknown.
Yeah. No,
of its
9 wins did win you the division.
Yeah, won you the division last year.
Yes.
And the workouts are good, and everyone's happy in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Football is different than a workout.
You want to talk a little baseball when we get back? Topes have done something that they haven't done all year. They did it last night. I'll tell you what it is. We'll get you ready for day baseball and talk with Josh Sushan, remembering the great Willie Mays. We'll talk with the voice of the Isotopes from Oklahoma next. Josh Sushan's with us on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This is Two Men On. Yeah.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
A burglary takes place in the United States approximately every 15 seconds. International Protective Service is your answer for commercial and residential security in all of Albuquerque. IPS will work with your monitoring company for fast, reliable response times. You can rest easy knowing you, your family, or your company is watched over by International Protective Service. Call International Protective Service today.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, ripped, plastered, taint, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez.
Until 7 on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Day ball in Oklahoma City today. The Isotopes and the Oklahoma City Baseball Club.
Awesome.
And it will be trucking awesome. It's the opening drive. Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck, Josh Sushan will crack the microphone from Oklahoma City at 9:45 with a pregame show. Topes win last night, 8-5. JJ, they did something last night they haven't done all year. For the first time all year, they won 3 in a row. They are on fire. Josh Sushan is the voice of the Isotopes. Joins us from beautiful Oklahoma City. Good day, Josh Sushan. How you living?
Yeah, I'm living good, although, of course, a sad day. You know, Willie Mays passing. I learned of it about the 6th inning of last night's game. I think I spent more time talking about Willie Mays than the Isotopes winning the 3rd in a row.
Yeah, so in fact, that's where I was going to go with you, but I wanted to, love on the 3 in a row. We spent a lot of time today. Did you know, and I'm going to guess you did, that Willie Mays was the first batter to ever step to the plate at the old Albuquerque Sports Stadium on March 31st, 1969. The day the stadium opened, the Indians and the Giants played an exhibition in front of over 13,700 people with capacity at 10-5. And Willie Mays was the first batter ever to step to the plate at the Albuquerque Sports Stadium. Did you know that?
Yep, and he called it the greatest minor league ballpark I've ever played in. And a young fan was hit by a foul ball during that game, and Willie took off his warm-up jacket and cradled it under the young boy's head as he was taken away to the hospital. The young fan recovered. He played pool, billiards at the Hilton with Sam McDowell. I was checking out newspapers.com over the last 24 hours. Yeah, only fitting that the greatest of all time led off the first game at the Albuquerque Sports Stadium.
You say the greatest of all time, and I think I agree with you. Vince Scully always called him the greatest player he ever saw, and Vince Scully saw them all. And I think Vince Scully's the greatest of all time as well. We have these GOAT conversations. You, nor I, nor JJ saw him in his prime. I have a vague memory of him with the Mets in '73. But it's amazing that a guy who we didn't see has stood the test of time and is still regarded in most circles as the greatest five-tool player and hence the greatest player of all time.
You know, and I think the word mythical really works with Willie Mays because we do have some footage, right? The incredible catch in the World Series, you know. Fortunately, we have the footage of that. We have footage of his 3,000th hit and his 600th home run and these other moments like that. And there's other moments of him and Bobby Bonds rushing together and kind of colliding as Willie makes the catch at Candlestick. Right. And there's other footage of him just running the bases and just unleashing throws and where his head's just kind of like on a swivel as he's running all around. But we still don't have everything video documented. And so that's why I think that there's a mythical element of Willie Mays. Like I went back after last night's game and was looking for, I just wanted to watch more footage. I just wanted to see more of him. And you can see some, but there's still so much that you can't see. You know, if time travel was possible and we could go back to watch sporting events, I would love to go back and be there at the first game that Jackie Robinson ever played. And I'd want to know what the people were saying in the stands. But then the second thing I would want to do is watch Willie Mays in his prime and just see him in center field at the Polo Grounds with those weird dimensions and at Seals Stadium, an old minor league ballpark when the Giants first moved to San Francisco, and then just see him on a cold, windy night at Candlestick and just watch him in his prime do his thing.
I'd like to even go back further, and Josh Sushan is the voice of the Isotopes with us on the Sports Animal here on the opening drive. I'd even like to go back to when he was in high school and gave up his amateur status and played in the Negro Leagues, and while school was still in, he only played on the weekends and couldn't travel with the team until school was out for the summer and was playing with grown men when he was still in high school. That's how good he was. We talk about, how would athletes transfer eras, and by every account, and again, you and I didn't watch him every day, but it sure seems like this guy would have thrived in every era that he could have ever played.
Oh, for sure. And even, you go back and you kind of do the math on stuff and you go, okay, so Jackie Robinson made his debut in 1947. Willie Mays made his debut in 1951, so it's not that long after Jackie had broke the color barrier. Right?
Josh, was he the 10th? Somebody told me today he was the 10th black player in Major League Baseball history.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And then remember, then he had to go away to war, right?
Missed
for about
2.5
a year and a
years.
half.
Well, he missed 2.5 years of his career.
So he hit 660 home runs. Imagine if he had not lost a couple of years in the war. Of course, you can say that about Ted Williams and many others as well. And so then, even just like the stories where when he first got called up, he was playing for a AAA team in Minneapolis. He was at a movie theater, and there was an announcement that came across that said, Willie Mays, if you're in this movie theater, please go back to the hotel. And when he was told that he was going to the major leagues, he said, I don't think I'm ready yet. And they asked him what he was batting, and he said 451. And they said, I think you're ready. And he's like, okay.
Yeah. It's insane, the legend and the stories. He's Josh Sushan with us on the opening drive.
Josh, when you're telling these stories of baseball greats, what's one thing that you hope the younger generation does here or embraces, about these players that set the tone for the game?
I think it's just like listening to stories, wanting to hear stories. When I was in the elevator last night after the game, I was with the three starting outfielders from yesterday's game. Sam Hilliard and Trevor Boone and Jimmy Herron. And I smiled and I said, hey, one of you guys needs to make a basket catch tomorrow. And Hilliard looked at me and he goes, you mean for say hey? And I said, yeah. And I thought it was really cool that Hilliard understood what that meant to make a basket catch without me having to say Willie Mays. And then Sam looked at me and he goes, how many All-Star games did he make? And I said 24. And he said, how many years did he play? And I said 23. And Sam paused. He goes, wait a minute. How does the math work on that? And I said, well, back in the day, they had 2 All-Star games sometimes there for a handful of years. So, yeah, I mean, but that adds to the myth of Willie Mays, right? That he only played 23 years and that he went to 24 All-Star games. And so I just think that those things are so cool. And when you do look back on All-Star games, the other All-Stars were in awe of Willie Mays, right? He was the All-Star of All-Stars. And you know, and you just hope that all of us just like learn those stories and hear about them and read about them and share them.
Ted Williams once said the All-Star game was made.
Yeah,
it just was. You know, I think perspective too, and where you grew up, and I know you grew up a Giants fan or an A's fan, but in the Bay Area, in you know, around the Giants, right? I grew up a Dodgers fan, and the rivalry was insane, but there was always this respect, adoration. And dare I say, the Dodger fans loved Willie Mays. And it was almost sacrilege to love or even like anything about those hated guys from up north. But a guy that can earn the, not just respect, but the adoration of the rival fans says so much about not just what he was, but who he was.
Yeah, you know, and I think a lot of it with Willie was not just the numbers. It was just the joy that he played. You know, I mean, he was called the Say Hey Kid for a reason. He just played with a kid's enthusiasm, with a smile on his face, the showmanship that he had, just the grace that he had, although it was a different type of grace. Because, again, when you watched him run in those old videos, his head's on a swivel because he's thinking 2-3 steps ahead. I think that his baseball IQ should not be forgotten. And just the way, like even that catch in the 1954 World Series, he always said that when he was going back, he knew that he would make the catch, but the key was he needed to make sure the runner at second did not score because it was 435 feet where he caught it. And so as soon as he made the catch, it was all about getting the throw back in to make sure that Larry Doby, who tagged from second and got to third, did not score on that play.
Yep, he said that the catch wasn't the hard part. Getting the ball back to the infield was the hard part on that. I don't know how to compare eras, and I don't know who you compare him with. And you know, I tell people, and you and I may have different perspectives on this. In my time, Ken Griffey Jr. to me is the greatest all-around player of my generation. Right? Tony Gwynn, Rod Carew, Wade Boggs might be the best hitters I've ever seen. But Ken Griffey Jr. is the best player I've ever saw. But how do you compare eras? The Say Hey Kid did everything, and it kind of feels like he did everything first.
Yeah, I would agree with you on. I think really the only ones who you can compare him to are Griffey and his godson Barry Bonds. You know, and obviously different eras and different things happen within those eras. You know, I like the expression, whatever reason why you like baseball is what made you like Willie Mays, right? If you like stolen bases, if you like home runs, if you just like a joy and enthusiasm and running down catches, like whatever it is, the reason why you like baseball, that's what Willie Mays symbolized. And so, you know, maybe you look at Clemente, but Clemente didn't have Mays' power, you know? You look at even like Henry Aaron had better statistics by the end, but he just did in such a dignified, stoic way. And Willie just did it with just such an effervescent joy that I think that seemed to like bring out the kid in everyone. Even when he was in his 90s, it still brought out the kid in everyone.
I brought up those three earlier in that era and said, what an all-star team, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, the National League was throwing out Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, and Roberto Clemente. Like, holy smokes. On the other side, you had like Reggie Jackson. And yeah, it's just what an era of baseball. And maybe it was because there was less. Maybe because, you know, that was what there was in the summer. And you know, I know you and I have talked about what radio meant back in the day and what baseball meant to this country and how heroes became heroes. But I just think of that golden era, and maybe that isn't, maybe it is, of those guys, and their legends have lived. And so many legends disappear or aren't real. And there's still people who can tell. We've had people call us today that, said, I remember watching Willie Mays, and maybe that's why it lived. But I think Mays, of all of them, and Josh, we have conversations about GOATs all the time, right? LeBron or Michael, whatever. Man, GOAT in baseball, Willie Mays rises to the top, and while not unanimous, it certainly feels majority.
Yeah, look, he didn't pitch, and Babe Ruth did pitch, but Babe Ruth couldn't run
or field,
or throw, because once he stopped pitching, really, he wasn't throwing like that. Babe Ruth didn't make catches the way that Mays did, certainly I think that the modern era, you can't help but bring in Shohei Ohtani into this conversation,
right?
And so I think that's what makes sports fun, as long as you don't take these arguments, too personally. Yeah, seriously. Yeah. And it also makes me think too, not to go down this rabbit hole here of, imagine all of the years that we did not get to see the greatest black baseball players compete at the highest level in the top. And imagine how many of those we are missing out on now because the best black athletes are not playing baseball. They're playing football, they're playing basketball. And imagine if baseball had not gone to Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic to get the Roberto Clementes and get the players like that, so that it can be this global sport where the best of the best, regardless of where you were born and what your skin color looks like, it gives us the opportunity to enjoy these incredible athletes.
You get the feeling, and it sounds like you do with your conversation yesterday in the elevator, that today's professional player recognizes, appreciates, respects, honors, understands Willie Mays?
Yeah, and I think that for all of baseball's faults about marketing, I think that baseball has actually done a really good job of making sure that people don't forget about Willie Mays. I think credit goes to Peter McGowan, the former majority owner of the San Francisco Giants. One of the first things he did when he bought the Giants in 1993 was he gave Willie Mays a lifetime contract. And Willie just showed up at the ballpark on a regular basis. Willie Mays, Willie McCovey, Orlando Cepeda. When I covered the Giants for 4 years, I cannot begin to count the number of times that you just walk in the clubhouse and Willie's just there. And Willie's talking to anybody, to everybody. He's talking to reporters. He's talking to equipment guys. He's talking to players. He's talking to visiting players. He was down on the field. He's in the dugout. And it just kept his memory alive, his legacy alive, because he was constantly there. The Giants made him a part of just about every single pregame ceremony that he could attend, that he wanted to attend. And I think the connection with Barry as his godson kept him at the forefront of being in people's consciousness constantly on a regular basis. And even this return to Rickwood, this was done because of Willie Mays. It's because of where he played.
The timing on it's nuts.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that it's important that we do these types of things. I think it's important that 10 years from now we make sure we tell the stories of Ken Griffey Jr., and that 20 years from now we tell the story of, like a Kirby Puckett, different guys like that had just a transcendent ability on the field, and so that we don't forget who these guys were.
How was Willie personally?
Oh, Willie was great. I'll never forget. So in spring training, almost every year, he had this high-pitched voice, and I'm not making fun of him, but Willie would walk in the clubhouse, and you would just hear him say out loud, "Hey, Ryder! Hey, Ryder!" And he wasn't, talking to me or any specific writer. He would say, "Hey, Ryder, we got any pitching this year, Ryder? Hey, Ryder, where's the pitching this year?" And everybody in the clubhouse just turned to jelly because they were just so excited to see Willie, and he never thought that it was a big deal because he's just Willie Mays. And he would be so fun. He'd always want to know what your expense account was, and then you'd tell him, what your per diem was. And then he would laugh and he would say, "You can't even get a hamburger for that anymore," So I would tell my sports editor, "Hey, Willie Mays thinks I should have a higher per diem."
I need to eat better. This is good, dude. We could do this for hours, and I'd love to. And maybe when you get back in town, we go have a beer and talk about Willie Mays.
For sure.
Josh is going to crack the mic here in a few minutes. We got one more break. Appreciate you joining us. It's the Isotopes in Oklahoma City Baseball Club. Josh will have the call. He'll crack the mic with the pregame show at 9:45, which is coming up in about 16 minutes. Always appreciate the conversation. We do it too infrequently, my friend, but it's I just love your baseball knowledge and enthusiasm. We just love listening to you.
Yeah,
thank you for spending some time with us.
I appreciate you inviting me. This was super fun.
Have a great call today, and you'll be back on the air here in 15 minutes.
All right, sounds good.
He is Josh Suchon, the voice of the Isotopes. How about that? I guess I didn't know that he had met Willie and hung out with him. Like, how cool is that? Hey, Ryder. Hey, Ryder. We got him pitching? Hang on. All right, we'll wrap this thing up. Still got time for you. 505-246-06. That's how to get in. I'll let you know everything you got to know as you go through your day, and then we'll get out of the way and let Josh come in here with Isotopes Baseball. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610 Sports.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mir here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in Murcia. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
You got a lot to do today as you go through your day. You got Isotopes Baseball. We're out of here just in a few minutes. Isotopes and Oklahoma City on Juneteenth. So you get to enjoy that. What do you got to know as you go through your day? The Say Hey Kid passed away. Willie Mays, 93 years old, and maybe the best baseball player, period, of all times. And if not, he is in the top very few. And he passed away, was 93 years old, and you're going to hear Willie Mays stories. And tell your friends, Willie Mays was the first batter ever at the Albuquerque Sports Stadium when it opened in 1969, March 31. First batter ever out at the ballpark here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. What else is going on? The Edmonton Oilers were winners last week. They beat the Florida Panthers 5-3, and that makes that series 3-2, and they're going to go back to Canada and play Game 6 in the Stanley Cup Final. The Detroit Pistons fired their head coach this morning, Monty Williams. He had 1 year. They still owe him $65 million. Dude got fired and will get $65 million to walk away. Former Aggie Pascal Siakam is a richer man today. Well, he will be soon as they are allowed to sign the contract. But Pascal Siakam, the former New Mexico State star, has agreed to an extension with the Indiana Pacers. JJ gets a max deal, 4 years, $189.5 million, $43.5 million per year average. And hopefully the people down in Las Cruces lobbing a call to Pascal and saying, hey, come on down, have a party. We'll call it the Siakam Center or the Pascal Palace, or I mean, whatever you want to put your name on.
That could work.
You know, right? The Pascal Palace? Yeah. Yeah. Or if you want to, you know, help out with a little NIL money, whatever you want to do, Pascal, we'd love to have you back. That's what people are going to be talking about as you go through the day to day. I mean, good for him. He and to your point, he is a great story. When he came out of New Mexico State, and he was drafted late in the first round by 20. He was a 27th overall pick. I thought he'd be a good player, right? He was a good player at New Mexico State. I don't know that we all, and maybe it was because, were they in the WAC at that point? Or was that a Sun Belt?
No, they were in the WAC.
That was the WAC?
It was a WAC team, and this was a player that is made for this era. His versatility, his ball handling, his offensive ability, but he can pretty much guard 1 through 5 at times, and he's developed into a fantastic NBA player, a champion, and a big piece of a Pacers team. That's interesting. We haven't even, when you have these discussions of what's next, we're looking at a healthy Milwaukee and who's going to join Joel Embiid. And Pacers win the Eastern Conference Finals.
Great point. No, you're 100% right. We haven't really talked about them at all. Yeah, $189.5 billion. Oh, the other thing people are going to be talking about is Tiger, and Tiger ain't going anywhere unless he wants to. The PGA Tour basically created a special exemption, a sponsor exemption for Tiger, that he can play in their signature events whenever he wants. Even if he's not qualified points wise, he's won 82 PGA Tour events. And it's a great move by the tour to let him into these high-paying events, the $20 million purses. And, you know, this year it's the Century and the Pebble Beach Pro-Am, the Genesis Invitational, the Arnold Palmer Invitational, and, you know, the Memorial. It's a no-brainer. If Tiger wants to play, he should play. And I know some of you are like, well, whatever, he's never going to win again. He might not ever win again. But he's Tiger freaking Woods. And he rocks the world, and he's the reason that they're able to have $20 million purses. And by the way, he's the reason that LIV can pay the money that they can. He's the reason golf is at the level it is, and if he wants to play at 48, 49, 59, whatever he wants, he's got an exemption to play in these tournaments. To me, the PGA Tour actually got one right the first time in a long freaking time. All right, good contributions today. What do I get tonight? Do I get some baseball today? I get college. Have you watched the College World Series at all?
It's intense.
Yeah.
Game of Florida State, North Carolina.
Yeah, that was a good one last night. Florida just hit a grand slam. They're in the first inning. They put up 7 runs in the first already with 1 out. It's the bottom of the first. Florida's playing Kentucky. They're up 7-1 in the bottom of the first with 1 out. Is there a mercy rule in this? I don't think so. I think they just go. And don't forget this too today. Here in the Borque, it's a international friendly. FC Juarez from Liga MX, the top league in New Mexico, is in town out at the ball pitch to play New Mexico United. And so you get a chance to see something completely different and something really cool. And so if you want to go out to the ball pitch tonight, I know that tickets are available. It will be New Mexico United against FC Juarez from Mexico. They're like 286 miles apart from each other. And you get an international friendly and get to see a team from the top league in Mexico. So that's where we are, and that's what you got. Josh is going to crack the microphone here in just a few minutes. Thank you to Josh Suchon for being with us today. I thought the stories were great. The perspective was great. Really enjoyed that. Jim Rome Show is next. No, it's not. Ice Jump Baseball is next. It will preempt Jim Rome today. After that, you get The Herd with Colin Cowherd. 2 Men On is here at 4 o'clock, and then we are back on the Board Winning Radio. We'll do it tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Adrian looks great on the TV side. All those Willie Mays clips, I saw them, Adrian, and they added a lot to the show, and I know the people who are watching appreciate it. Thank you for getting all that in. JJ, big day for you?
Huge day.
Enjoy it. Be good to each other, please. Be kind, loving, caring, and sharing. We'll smell you tomorrow.
There's just something special about a night at the Yard.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
We here at Clark's Pet Emporium welcome you to bring in your pets. We know that having your pet with you makes the experience of shopping for them even better. And we welcome you to bring your kids also. Clark's Pet Emporium, your pet's second best friend.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Mitch, there's a line drive right at the shortstop for out number 3.
Apodaca ripped to left field. That will bounce in, so it's going to be extra bases as they'll have to chase that one at the wall in the warning track. Flipped up, there's no play at home. So it's an RBI double for Andrew Apodaca.
Runner at third. High leverage spot. Can Chavez keep the tie? No, that's going to be cracked into left field. It's a base hit as Love puts the Sandia Matadors ahead for the first time today.
The 0-2. It's upstairs, goes to the backstop, and the run will not score. Gun down at home.
Chavez rocks and fires. Ahmed, that's going to be an RBI for Ahmed as that one right through the gap in right center. Petrie will scoop that one, and it's looking like a triple as Ahmed plugs into third base, and what a way to score that run for the Matadors.
Coach Romero barking out his orders there to his players. He's been around the game for a long time. Nice shot to center field. That'll bring runners in. Just like that, La Cueva will bring 3 runners in to go up 3-0. Runner advances to third. Shot to center. That looks good. That's gone. Man, outstanding center shot there. As La Cueva will score. Antonio Lucero, second baseman, quite the hitter. Shot to third, and good catch. And she gets the out. Outstanding play by Trinity Bazan. Nice bright spot.
Costly errors allowed Cleveland to get 1 run back. That one's hit on the ground to the left side. Throw to first in time. Throw home. Got her! Whoa, what a play!
Next door or something. Not sure, but they came out here, and Ellison cracks an RBI out to left field. That's where you got to do it. 1 run, 2 run, and this game could very well be over. It's a play at the plate. It's sliding, and that will do it. The Rams walk off the La Cueva Bears. It's a 3-run batted in shot by Dean Ellison.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Seriously? You expect me to drive while you aren't wearing seatbelts?
What's the worst that can happen?
Security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mir here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Black and shorty, you got my attention. See your baby